We now return to Medical Wonders.
It all began with the last-ditch effort of a desperate father to save his children from the grip of bipolar disorder.
Hey, what are you covering on the end?
Tony Stephan and David Hardy adapted a nutrient supplement that controls irritable behavior in pigs and fed it to son Joe and daughter Autumn. They claim their supplement, called EM Power Plus, works wonders on bipolar disorder, and they began manufacturing the supplement and marketing it through a website and call center.
That's critical to
But they know doubts about the product won't be dispelled until a scientific study is done.
Yeah, the information we provide them.
If we want this to be legitimized, we need the research. We need scientists that are open-minded to take a look at this.
Open-minded does not exactly describe the reaction from Brian Kolb, a neuroscientist at the University of Lethbridge in southern Alberta.
My first impression was this was nuts.
Still, Kolb listened to Tony and David and then talked to some people taking EM Power Plus. Kolb was impressed. For Tony and David, this was the first scientist who listened. It was a turning point.
I have a brother-in-law who has had a chronic anxiety disorder, and so out of curiosity we had him take the supplements, and he certainly wasn't normal, but he was far better than he'd been in the 30 years that I'd known him. So it struck me that maybe there is something to this.
Kolb urged Tony and David to contact University of Calgary psychologist and researcher Bonnie Kaplan, a specialist in nutrition and behavior. At first, Kaplan was reluctant to see them.
I dealt with all the true believers and flaky people I wanted to in the 1980s when I'd been studying nutrition, and I just didn't want to get involved.
She probably thought they were a pair of flakes.
Yet, by the end of that meeting, Kaplan agreed to look further into their claims.
You could tell that they were sincere. They had made a choice. They could have taken their discovery out into the marketplace and tried to make a lot of money, and instead they were beating their heads on what I call the door of academia, and also the doors of many physicians, saying, look, we think we've made a discovery. Would you please take a look at this? We want it validated by science. That's what they've said. Okay, what do we have?
Kaplan put together a questionnaire for 11 bipolar patients chosen to test EM Power Plus.
What this bar graph shows is that after they'd been on the supplement for 6 months, there was a significant drop. That's what the cross-hatched bars are. Significant drop in symptom severity of all three scales: depression, mania, and overall psychiatric health. Overall, it's more than a 50% improvement. That's difficult to achieve in people with bipolar disorder.
Kaplan published her findings in the Journal of Clinical Psychiatry, but instead of drawing interest, the study drew the ire of her peers. They insisted her work was invalid because it didn't isolate and test each ingredient in the supplement to determine the active ones.
Early on, a very senior scientist looked at what we wanted to do and said no reputable scientist would study more than one ingredient at a time. And that is a way of thinking that used to, it was part of my training too. You don't change more than one variable at a time. So I've had to try to convince people along the way that in this case, the one variable is in fact a spectrum of nutrients. And that's a new way of thinking. So 20% cutoff would give us, just another.
Kaplan was so excited she began to prepare a groundbreaking study into EM Power Plus.
There are dozens and dozens of good studies on normal people showing that our mood varies according to what we eat. There are studies on people in mental hospitals giving them things like manganese and showing a change in their mental health.
But her plans would soon come up against a regulatory roadblock. At the same time, a medical doctor and Harvard professor heard about the supplement through a friend who'd used it to treat his son. Dr. Charles Popper decided to try it on 22 of his bipolar patients. 19 showed significant improvement. Harvard asked Dr. Popper not to speak on behalf of the university about his study because it was not submitted for internal review.
I think it's an indication that Harvard University is being used by someone outside of Harvard University.
Dr. Terry Polivoy challenges the validity of Popper's and Kaplan's results, and he also questions Bonnie Kaplan's independence from the Synergy Group.
She's not even a psychiatrist. So, you know, if she makes her living going around as a spokesperson for a startup vitamin company that has no credibility whatsoever, I think I would demand a little bit more common sense.
Kaplan denies having any business relationship with the Synergy Group.
All of us who are studying this are quite comfortable with reasoned skepticism. There are unfortunately some people who are beyond skeptical. They are fanatically opposed to even studying it. This is not reasonable and doesn't deserve the time of day.
And just when it looked like EM Power Plus would finally get the scientific scrutiny Tony and David crave, Health Canada responded to Bonnie Kaplan's proposed research. Kaplan applied to study EM Power Plus under the rules governing nutrient supplements. But Health Canada concluded that the supplement is a drug and must go through the same testing as other medicines. And that could take years.
We get very frustrated with Health Canada's position because they're too slow. This year alone in North America, there'll be close to 40,000 suicides. We have to find a better answer for the mentally ill.
Kaplan vowed to fight the ruling. Health Canada banned the sale of EM Power Plus, but the Synergy Group bypassed the ban by shipping the product from the U.S.
We knew that it was an uphill battle right from day one, that we were swimming upstream, and we're still swimming upstream.
6 years after the re-engineered pig feed supplement was first tried on a human, there is still no unimpeachable scientific proof that it works.
Okay, and this shows her response after 90 days on the program. You can see that.
Despite that, people continue to try the pills. People like Lori Stringer.
Hi, Lori, just have a seat.
Okay.
Lori Stringer has battled bipolar depression for 20 years. She spent the last 15 years unemployed or in temp jobs and in and out of mental institutions.
And how's it been for you?
I've been thinking about, being off my meds, and so...
For months, she followed the controversy and hype surrounding EM Power before she brought it up with her doctor.
Because I've been on prescription drugs for 20 years. I've been confined, I've been set back, I've missed opportunity, I haven't done the things I want to do. So I feel like I'm going to discover a whole new me.
Lori hopes EM Power Plus will do for her what prescription drugs have not.
Eventually would like to feel my own energy come back, parts of my personality breaking through. It's kind of like right now, I know what I have goals and ideas, but I'm behind this big wall and I can't get to them, and I'm hoping to break down that wall. And
my going along with this is not because I have experience with the EM Power Plus and saying this is a good product. It's an unknown, but I'm willing to be a part of helping her to find the answer for herself.
Okay, I think I'm recording. Hi, this is a really bad shot.
Lori is going to keep a video diary at home of her progress on the supplement.
Starting to feel a bit lethargic because my medication that I'm taking is starting to interact with the Truehope EM Power. On May 30th, I'm going to see my psychiatrist, and he's going to hopefully taper down for the first time. I'm just so hopeful for the promises Truehope are going to do for me, and I'm so happy to be reducing my medication. But I'm going to do it slowly. And that's all for today. I do not look great, but this is it. Thanks.